What's your read on this clash, the first armed clash in 5 years? Why now?
It's certainly the most significant armed clash in 5 years, and there was a volley about 10 months ago, but that was at sea. And this is important because it brings back the very real notion that things can explode at any minute. And while one doesn't want to overstate the case, the North Koreans are feeling very vulnerable at the moment. And with the 70th anniversary of the end of the war, with the 70th anniversary of their party coming in 2 months, they're trying to show force.
They're trying to show force. Does this reflect any frustration on Kim Jong-un's part?
Sure. It shows that they're frustrated about U.S. ROK military exercises that are going on now, the propaganda point that you raised. And they're also consolidating the regime. And Kim Jong-un has ousted about 60% of the senior military. So as a result, he's probably trying to look strong.
Based on what's happened in the past, what is the pattern of escalation that you would be expecting to happen here?
Well, hopefully we won't see much more of it. That would be a good thing. But you know, it started small in terms of this tragedy August 4th with the landmines. It's escalated. And unfortunately, with the Korean Peninsula, things can escalate more, especially if there is something like a missile test around the 70th anniversary of the Korean Workers' Party in early October.
Every time there's a skirmish, I guess I just assume that North Korea started it. Has there ever been an instance where South Korea was the clear instigator?
No, that's not been the case, and certainly since the Korean War when North Korea instigated hostilities. But we have to remember things are more dangerous now in the sense that this is a young, untested leader. He may be consolidating power, but there may be pockets of resentment, especially with the purges going on. That can make for an unstable North Korea in a region with a lot of economic instability. You certainly don't want that type of political instability.
And I'm glad you bring that up because China slowed down its yuan devaluation this month. That creates a lot of question marks around the region. North Korea must feel the impact more than others. I mean, under Bloomberg's ECTR function, the numbers show that China is North Korea's biggest trading partner. Put those numbers into context for us because North Korea has a closed economy, and it's clearly very dependent on China.
Yeah, certainly. Scarlett, that's well said. You know, they're fiercely nationalistic, but they're very dependent on China. You know, over 72% of their imports are from China. 42% of their exports go to China. The only other real player would be Russia, which is having its own troubles, and that could get worse as the economy gets worse. So for North Korea, they're in a bind, and we may see a lot of reaction, and turning to external military is oftentimes what they do.
And how does South Korea fit in with all this as well? Because isn't China doing more in terms of ratcheting up its relations with South Korea?
Well, it is. China is doing a tremendous amount. The Chinese and South Korean presidents have met 6 times since they both assumed office. The Chinese president has met with the North Korean leader exactly 0 times. And so that relationship is very strong. Remember that they have over $215 billion in annual trade with a new free trade agreement that was inked in June. It could well go over $300 billion. Compare that to about $8 billion, more or less, optimistically, between North Korea and China. It shows you how things are really held in perspective by the Beijing regime.
Great perspective. Well, one issue on which North and South Korea and China are all in agreement is Japan's historical atrocities against them. North Korea, as you mentioned, celebrating the 70th anniversary of the end of World War II and Japan's colonial rule with a live performance by a Western rock band. Take a look at this. This is the first ever in North Korea. This is Laibach, an industrial rock band from Slovenia, performing in Pyongyang on Wednesday. They actually played a Sound of Music medley, a cover of a Beatles song, and their own version of the final countdown. Kim Jong-un certainly not going about things the same way his father did, in that he is opening up to some Western influences, isn't he?
Well, certainly he shows a receptivity to some aspects of Western culture. Of course, there's been the famous NBA visit by Dennis Rodman. But it seemed, if you watch that performance and clips of it, that it fell on somewhat muted ears. There was soft appreciation for the performance.
The audience didn't look convinced.
They didn't look convinced at all, Scarlett.
Yeah. Look at that. They look bored. They look like they're going to fall asleep.
They're not thrilled. They said it was interesting, and I think we'll leave it at that.
All right.